Yo, this is a time where I wish that didn't pick up. I didn't expect that to sound like that when that came out. But the feeling I was feeling went with that yo. I was actually about to say, yo, I think rain got melatonin in it, which is the silliest thing, but just like y'all understand, I am in the middle of knocking out a gnat. But I was in the middle of doing my sessions for the day. That's something I usually have to break up because it gets monotonous. My voice is like this, which is sort of, I don't want to say hypnotic because that sounds weird, right? But it's like when you hear this cadence and I'm locked into these frequencies while I'm doing these videos, I start feeling like after a couple. See, I'm already going into here feeling like, guys. So I just made the post or I announced because I ain't announced it ahead of time. Every time I announce that I'm about to like stop doing something ahead of time, I get flooded with people who thought they had forever to book something. And I didn't want to do that this time. I just did my regular little thing as I was instructed. And then I knew in my heart that I was ending my time as a reader. I didn't want anybody to know. I wanted it to be organic. So I just made the post. Like this is really it this time. I tried to quit several times before, but I was still sort of locked in this process, this hero process. Who's going to answer these strange questions if I don't? But instead, now I'm leaning into I could do myself a much bigger justice and others if I just teach other people how to do what I do so that the amount of people who need help can be helped because the volume is too much for me to produce the turnaround time that is preferred in this realm. And I just have to accept that. You have to take your L's. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. I believe many of us have been forced into Saturnian situations where you feel like, hey, this is my trait, but I can beat my own ass through discipline and become something else. And that's what I've done my whole life. So what would happen if I accepted me as I was and then built my empire off of that? So today's frequency that we're listening to is 777 hertz. It is the cleanse aura, align chakras, spiritual awakening frequency. So opens your chakras for clarity. As you can see, there's a different thing happening here as opposed to the 9919 transcendence one that had me like talking for 2 hours. I can't believe I talked to y'all that long. I don't even know what I said. It's like I'm sober when I'm talking to y'all, but it's the same thing as when you talk to like somebody who's drunk the next day, they have no idea what they said to you. Like, I don't know what I divulged. I say what comes to my mind at that moment, and then it's Dory. On to the next thing, right? So with that all being said, clearly this is a cleansing, purging with the rain and storm going on to session or channel message that I'm about to do today. Moving my keyboard back. Because I'm going to have a lot more time for the creative stuff. I believe I talked to you guys last time and I told you I realized, like, oh shit, I did not think about how much energy I had been putting out and how I needed to balance that with creative stuff for the sake of my heart space. I started feeling like in that area. I'm like, no, I've drained my own battery. So teaching is going to allow me to replenish and do multiple things. But the creativity is what I missed the most. Just being able to spend the day getting inspired and seeing what I produce after I'm inspired by what happens when I tap in whatever way I decide to tap in. And then I could just teach y'all to do what I've been doing this whole time, and I can have fun. I feel like that's going to bring a whole new vibe and energy to everything I've been doing here. I feel much better inside, even though I am aware that I am just now crawling out of the pit, so to speak. I think all of us at this vibration are doing that. Like, hey, I'm out of my cycles. I'm aware of the cycles. I can do shadow work as I go, as it comes up. I don't need to sit down and dissolve that anymore. What's next? What's next in healing? So let's see. What's the theme for today's channel message? That's what it felt like. What's next in healing? I know what hurting looks like. What's the happy path? Which sounds wild with all the other stuff we talk about on this channel. Like, what you mean? What's the happy path? Let's see. Let me not look. Ooh, maybe one day I will just put them all in a bowl. See, I just like making up stuff. I don't like to do the same thing twice. I like to mix it up. I got to keep it interesting. So I probably will get a bowl and try it that way one time too. Like, what comes out this bowl? Let's see here. Dreams. We're talking about dreams today. My mind is ratchet. I have to accept that. As soon as I saw that, my mind started singing Lil Kim dreams. Dreams of getting the R&B out of pocket, right? Just trying. Okay, so dreams. What do we need to know about dreams? Let me pick a deck. I'm gonna go with the Akashic today. I haven't done this one in a while, so I would like to recommend this if anybody is starting their journey. So the Akashic records are the universal library, like an invisible library up there in the ethers, right? If you don't understand this concept, you know, I gotta feel Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher has a whole like part of the storyline, and it's a Stephen King film. I can't help it if most of this information is occult and esoteric. And they only put it in horror movies because the people who study this tend to go down a darker path, which leads them to finding out horrific things. So, so a lot of the movies I'm going to recommend are sci-fi or horror, occult. The Akashic Records are the library. From the moment that your soul separates from source, you get a book, and that book keeps track of every incarnation that you have. So when the time comes for you to log in with your library card, you can pull from different lives. You can pull from future lives because time only exists here on earth where we are bound to it. Everywhere else is like tomorrow is today, this moment is the next. There's no space between lives. Now, if you want to understand that concept, there's a great sci-fi film called Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I think that's it. Oh, that movie put me in my feelings. Even thinking about it, just like, oh my goodness. Because I was learning so much stuff and it was all weird and like there's no reference for it, or there was no reference to that film came. And I was like, okay, I understand this multiverse thing. And it came out around the same time as Doctor Strange in the multiverse. Ooh, which I think I'm gonna watch again today. Wanda is calling. So the Akashic Records library card is what I call this. When you don't know how to meditate and tap into stuff and all that things in the beginning, because remember, guys, I learned this over the course of the last 4 years. It's like my soul is an ancient sorceress, but I'm a human and I've been a human this whole time. Technically, I've been a Christian human this whole time. A Baptist at that. So my Baptist human self knew nothing of this, wouldn't touch it. Life pushed me. It did something in another direction. So when I was learning how to cultivate my skills, this was the deck that was my library card, the Akashic Tarot. So when I go into here, it's like, hey, here's my card. Can I check into such and such's life? And that's what I was doing at first. Now, when I go to think about somebody, I can tap in, but it's only because using this deck teaches you how to open your channels and to understand the information that coming through you. Because when you shuffle, right, and you pull a card, you immediately start feeling information off the card, even if you can't see it. Like, I'm not going to look at this. I don't want to see the back of it. You're not going to just look at the card and only get information. When you hold it or when it's in your hand or when you're asking a question, the answer starts to come through you. I would be very, very upset if this was actually a card that had like the Akashic records on it, because there is a card in here for it, or the Akashic film. Uh, Damn. See, I started thinking. You cannot think when you're doing this. Your regular thought process messes up your channels. But I just put pressure on myself, like you can feel off the card. Even though y'all see me do it every week on here, the fact that I started thinking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I thinking right about what's on the card? I'll take that. It's the librarian. So, because I wasn't asking the question when I was just shuffling, I was playing around as I was talking to y'all. But that makes sense because I was teaching y'all how this is a library card and it allows you to go to the records and look through other people's stuff. The other interesting thing about the Akashic records is nothing is set in stone. If you don't like something in your record or something that you signed up for in this life, if you go through your record and you see something, you can say cancel and ask for something else and get a replacement. So that's, I love this shit. So what does the collective need to know about their dreams at this time? A purge is happening through your dreams, guys. Pay close attention to what's coming through there because it's not only messages for you, it's messages for other people or people that you possibly need to reach out to that are having difficulties. But there's a whole bunch going on in dream world because right now we are going through a purge, an energetic purge. You need to get all your old feelings, all your heavy feelings out into the open because your shadow is the thing that is planning or they're planning to trigger. I think that's good, right? To know the attack is coming from the inside this time. And people on the outside can only attack what you have unhealed on the inside. So your dreams are showing you where you are still having blockages or where somebody else still has a block with you. So this says divine physician, rebirth. Take me to the king. That's what that made me start feeling. But is that not a cleanse and not a purge song? Not a be renewed in your own energy song? Like the thing about this purge is it's supposed to give you that whole phoenix thing. Like once you look at everything you've been through and where you are, where you wanted to be, and how much further you got to go, there's something about all that pain that becomes like a fire, but a fire baptism, sort of, kind of. You're never the same once you look back at everything that you went through in order to get you where you are. Like what you overcome in the times you thought you couldn't. When you actually sit down and think about yourself, if you sit down and like gas yourself, like, yo, who are you? Who is your player? Think about your childhood, all the stuff in between, because we all have stuff. But if you were to look back at your lore and then still pull up the stuff that's, because it's gonna come up on it on your own, on its own. But if you were to sit there and look back at your life like that, there's no way you're not gonna become emotional. But healing for rebirth. I'm gonna take this white Jesus as as a Christ spark. Because look what he's doing to the lady. He's healing her heart. Y'all know what's funny? When I started feeling like the pain in my heart chakra, just realizing that my heart was getting lower. Maybe I had gave out love or like even possibly like mildly heartbroken over something. It turns out like the asteroid Herzen 3053, which represents your heart frequency, was going through my first house. Like it was meant for me to know at that time because it's next to my Mercury, which is your mind, to realize, oh shit, my heart. I need to look out for that. I got to make sure to replenish. You are being triggered or guided through this by the stars. You can't mess it up. You can only miss the opportunity at the time by ignoring your own gut, your own intuition. So, for instance, if during this time you were trying not to think of your dreams as anything, or not listening to any messages or signs that yourself or your body was trying to tell you that you needed a little bit more attention, then there would be consequences, like consequences to self. And then it comes always with a moment like, dang, I should have did A, B, C, or D, and I wouldn't be in this position right now. Don't you hate the moments? So very human of us. So, you know what I find interesting about all this? The chessboard, because the game of duality. So this ties into that big chaos reading I did. I think that was last week where I was explaining that we were about to be attacked spiritually. But in order for some people to not get jumped, like they're going to try everybody, that's natural. But for some people to be in the position of educating others, which is what I started talking this session about, right? Teaching other people how to survive these things, teaching other people the knowledge that you have that helped you through your stuff. Is like a goal here. Is this trying to reflect like, but this isn't just for me. I think it's because a lot of you that are watching this are actually teachers yourself. This says the divine physician. I called it white Jesus, but this just says the divine physician, and there's no limit on the number of divine physicians. It actually feels like everybody that I'm talking to right now needs to look at asteroid. Oh, I know this. I'm better than this. 3241. I hope I ain't betray you, Jesus. Let me see. I'm back on Google, y'all. And it's the Yeshua asteroid. Did I get it right? 3241. I ain't let Jesus down, y'all. This makes the cross worth it because I remember. So there are people currently being awakened, new people being awakened, but also it's like, all right, if you've been here the last couple of years, you were in the beginning of your process, right? There is a new wave of people coming in, and now you're the OG that's going to be helping people on this new wave that's coming in. That's also why I've been guided to focus on teaching instead of reading, because I won't be able to handle the number of readings that people are going to need once this new phase starts. I need to teach people how to set up their businesses. It's not even me just teaching the skill. A lot of people don't believe they have the tools to start a business or know how to channel or to even set up the frame. But this is all a part of the bigger game. We're playing for God. Like we're working for God. Like you've been hired. You've got a new job. Who got information about a new job lately? I've been hearing that for like the last 2 months. Like I'm about to get a new job, and I had no idea what it was because I haven't been putting out like applications or anything. But it feels like a bunch of us are about to get a new job. And if you didn't know, now you know, baby, baby. I just crack myself up all the time. So for once, guys, I feel like I said what needed to be said in the beginning, which is interesting because I was just talking about the fact that I'm segueing out of this and just letting you guys know I'll be doing way more channel messages. There are some other cute ideas I have in mind. And just enjoying sitting down, listening to frequencies sometimes, and writing out ideas about like what I would like to teach, what is in this mind of mine. I've accumulated so much knowledge, and I haven't even shared like remotely, not even half. Oh, it's raining so hard out there. I had to stop and look, y'all. But I've learned so much that I haven't even began to share, especially in regards to astrology. If you have not thought that you could possibly be a healer before now, I would like you in this moment to consider what you have already healed from. And now that I'm looking at this dreams card, I don't feel like it's only about those dreams, although that's important because if you've been getting dreams, that means you are a healer. I had a whole conversation with my mom today, and we have been having the same dreams. Like I check in with her like once a month, even though it's more than that by text, but by like actual call. And every time it's like, yo, we are one. But she doesn't know it's because her Mercury is at the same degree as my sun. Like we are. But not only is it about your dream signaling you about all of this and what needs to be cleared up, but this is about what you dreamed for yourself in life. What were your dreams? What did you originally plan for your life? What was the seed that was planted in you when you were little that got buried and is just now about to bloom? That's what this rebirth is. And you know what that just made me want to do? And I have not done this in quite some time, so I know I am being led here. Oh my goodness, where are my babies? I'm looking for my rooms. Ah, here they are. Like, see, I don't even use them like that, right? So this totally just gave me an idea for something I want to teach. Like now, all my stuff is lesson plans. How can I teach other people to understand the messages that come through them? Because everybody has these gifts. I do not think that there is one person that I cannot show that in some way they are magical. And that immediately starts eliminating the jealousy that would come from people who are like, you're not supposed to tell fortunes. You can't do that. Those gifts are from the devil. No, these are gifts from God. He gave to us. Somebody else told us they were demonic because it wouldn't benefit them for us to know that we be knowing when we're not supposed to be knowing stuff that we don't know. You know what I mean? So the last three cards on here that just got me was it's the beginning of a journey. I'm sorry, I laughed because it was the Jehovah Witness card. I call it Jehovah Witness card. It says the light of the world, but it's like this dude going around knocking on people's doors, delivering messages, right? But Jehovah's Witnesses, I guess, huh? Say, hey, this is God. Let me show you to you in a cool way you ain't never know before. But there's that Akashic library card, guys. Remember I told you there's an actual library one in here? But that's where this information is coming from. So hi, future students. I get it now, and I get it. How are y'all doing? That's the gag. This whole time you've been watching me healing, but you were healing so that you could take my job. But that's the coolest shit, right? So let me show you how this works then, since I get the gag. That was real cute or whatever. God, universe. All right, so these are rooms. Let me show you. They're little. Oh, I can't show you that. Oh, and I got amethyst ones because you can get crystal ones and they all have a different intention. Amethyst is love. I want to do everything in love. It's a pure frequency. It's connected to source. You can't separate it from source. Another good crystal for that is pink. I just had the word in my, it's rose quartz. I was like pink quartz. No, rose quartz for unconditional love. But either way, either vibration is really good for healing or when you're channeling so you don't get distortions. Because keep in mind, you are a radio. When you are opening yourself to signals, like this is your crown, right? Keep in mind how babies have a soft spot. That's where your crown is spiritually. It's right there in the middle. So when you open that, it blossoms like a flower and you're taking in energy. You have to block this area so that while you're in here taking info in, El Jefe, Hasatan, or whoever, this is usually not. I don't think he just pops up like that. But like minions, they're everywhere. Minions are like roaches, flies, gnats. They're always there, but they'll try to like throw in little stuff to mess you up along your way to make you doubt your intuition or throw you off. So it helps to have protections and stuff like that up. Like you'll see me sometimes I smudge because they can't stand positive vibrations. So that just moves them out of the way like roach spray. So with these, I like to just like feel around. What's my question now? Because you got to keep focused on your intention, your goal. So what does the collective need to know about their dreams? My mindset and goals, dreams and goals. It's possible. That's lovely. For this world is full of zangies and fools who don't believe in sensible rules and don't believe what sensible people say. Oh, I don't remember the end, but it's like these goofy, crazy people keep building up impossible hopes just to show like that impossible things are happening every day. Ooh, and then one fell out. I'll take the one that fell out, right? So I do that and I focus on whatever the thing is. In this case, it is dreams, and that's the song that started playing in my head, right? So then you take the room. In this case, it's this little, just to show y'all. and I see what I can feel off of it, which is something that takes hella practice. And it's still scary every time I do it, even though it's like I really don't have it right. Just so y'all know, it doesn't matter how long you're doing it. You're always gonna be like, did I get it right? But it's tapping in and allowing yourself to feel, logging into the frequency of something that's already there. Think of it this way. Everybody has like a parent or parental figure, right? So your parental figure comes in the room and you notice they've been crying, but they won't like show you. So you walk over to them and you look, you can immediately like start sensing that something is actually wrong with somebody from the moment they walk in the room. That's what made you turn your head. That's because you logged into their frequency and you're familiar with their frequency. What happens when you tap into one of these, you start getting the energy, the feeling, the sound, the smell, depending on your gift set, of something familiar to you that will let you know what the coding is or the frequency is coming off this particular symbol or color or whatever it is that you are channeling from. Channeling is just picking up on the energy. This is energy healing, understanding quantum connection. Quantum means everything is connected. That's the way I broke it down. So what is this? What does the collective need to know about their dreams? In my mind, I just saw wish fulfillment go by. And it's like a field, but it's a field where somebody is currently working in it. It feels like you just got this land. Like you're taking inventory of the land that you just received. Like, what am I going to make of this field? Oh, field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Oh, that just really, and I always get emotional when something comes through and I'm like, oh, that's how that connects to that. If you build it, they will come. The Field of Dreams movie. And I've never seen that movie, but that line stayed in my mind the whole time. Some of you are getting new jobs and some of you are going into being business owners, period. Even if it has nothing to do with what I'm doing here, you're about to do something that has been your calling a long time. And you just possibly needed to update your education in that area so you felt better about what you wanted to share with the world, that you felt polished or confident in what you had to offer for you to step into your own business or brand or whatever it is. But looking at your field, part of your inheritance comes from the wealth of knowledge and experience you have accrued through everything you went through before now. So say for instance, new job, right? All new way of doing things, right? But say for instance, you used to work for people. Now you work for yourself. You're independent. Now you still have all the skills that you had when you had to work for somebody else, but you get to use them for your own empire. You see that glory, that feeling there? Like, hold on, if you used to work for like a video gaming company, right? You used to make the games, you used to do all the coding and stuff, but you had to give it to these people because they hired you, they paid you, but they laid you off one day because whatever the reason is, you now know how to build a whole video games and you've seen that all your other video games were successful. You just didn't receive all the money from it. Now you're about to have the rights to your own game and you're going to have creative control. So it gets to become more of the dream that you wanted to be in the first place. What looked like it was a dark time is now like this big bright thing because your Christ spark, your creative energy, the ability to tap back into the thing you originally loved through your dreams or what was your dream. Your dreams are probably reminding you of what your original dream was in the first place. The opportunity has finally come back around. So now I'm going to look at what the description is in the book, because that's a good way how I do my checks and balances and just understand that it's coming from outside of me instead of just like in my head. So I don't know what these mean. I made it a point to myself not to memorize the meaning so that I sort of use it as psychic weight training. Like just pick a room. What does this say? And I believe, although I'm scared that I can do it with items, that I can like pick up somebody's stuff and be like, hey, off of this. But it makes me nervous every time I do stuff like that. Like, what if I get it wrong? Like, it's just a feeling. I'll get over it. So, oh, I can't pronounce that. EIHWAZ. And these are all what runes are Gaelic, Celtic, Celtic, Irish. So Wise. That's what I'm gonna go with. Strength, reliability, dependability, trustworthiness, enlightenment, endurance, defense, protection, the driving force to acquire, providing motivation and a sense of purpose, indicates that you have set your sights on a reasonable target and can achieve your goals. Someone who can be relied upon. It's possible. I don't even know what to say, y'all. As long as I continue to be amazed, I am going to show up and do this job because that's what fuels me. Like, y'all, God is real. And I think if anybody knows that, if I can get that energy to come through this computer and show up in your life in a way where you come back to a video like, hey, ever since you said this and I started thinking about it, I started noticing A, B, C, and D, and God is moving in my life, that makes this worth it. Because it's amazing. Just that thought or knowing that alone, even when you're going through whatever you have to go through in the future, or trying to heal from anything you went through in your past, or understanding, just knowing that there really is something bigger than all this and there is a plan. That's why I got into these stars, because I was like, God, what did I do for this life? What did I do to deserve this? And I found out I did. And that's what I want for everybody, to have the peace to know God really doesn't make mistakes, even about the most horrible, horrible things. And I had to dig into those too. Most of the time, like with the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff, I wanted to like know, like, how did this come about? So I got some of the victims charts and I put them with Jeffrey. They had a lot of eighth house synastry, right? This means in another life, what Jeffrey did to them in this life, this was revenge for whatever they had did to him. And it is my belief that the activities that those guys did uh, contributed to the sexual inversions, I'll say, that he had in the life that he was Jeffrey. Everything is connected, guys. Just knowing that takes away your need to know all the icky details. Like I had to learn a lot of for me to say, okay, God, you got it. Some things are not good for somebody's mental health to know in the first place. So I hope y'all can also recognize that me doing readings with the frequency in the background makes me need less cards because the messages just come through with the flow. I believe that this is also another way that I'm training myself to pick up on frequencies. So when I do get off house arrest, house training, and I think it's just till I finish my academy, I'll be able to do this in public. Ooh, what? No one will ever know. I'll just be out and about doing stuff, shaking hands. All your data is now in my head, bro. Because that's what happens, I realize. As soon as I step in somebody's bubble, it's not on purpose. I don't have to tap in or anything. And at first, I thought I was going to have to come up with like a cool little thing I do to cut it off and on when I'm out in public. But no, as soon as I step into your field, it's like turning on your radio. You know, when you go in the radius of a certain station, you pick up on it. When I'm in there, then immediately it's like anything your soul is crying out to say to somebody, even your human, or anything that needs confirmation, confession, any of that stuff, it starts to come up, and I'm a reflection. It comes out like a mirror. It's not on purpose. And sometimes it's good. It helps people, and they're like, "Yo, you just said something that I've been thinking about for a while," and I'm like, and then other times it's like, because I brought up something that I didn't know was a sore spot, but it's something that was slowing down your growth that needed to be brought up again for you to heal and be better in your journey. So sometimes God makes me the villain. And it's horrible because I hate that. I want everybody to like me because I'm just like all the time. But we're not here to be liked. We're here to do whatever our assignment is at that time. And as long as we're in that with love in our hearts, of course, everything is love. You can't be responsible for how somebody else takes you doing your calling, you being you. This is your energy signature for a reason. And for all of you guys who have been the outcast in your family, the the weirdo, the joke that comes up, that feeling, that energy. Now is the time that all that stuff didn't matter. This says dreams, but it's backwards, so it says short dream. Uh, all that stuff is now about to come to fruition. And I want you to know that it's not an aha moment for outward. Like it's not like, ah ha ha, look at me, I am famous now. You must regret that you treated me that way. No, it's not necessarily that, although it might be for somebody. It's more, ah ha ha, inside you, like, I was right. The whole time I did everything but the thing that I knew was the thing I was supposed to do in the beginning. And now that I'm doing it, my life is better than ever. Ah ha ha, I was right. So that's my channel message for today. Let me know if that resonates, guys. That was sort of cool. Every day better.